December 22nd, 2019. Ram Dass, the spiritual teacher who changed millions of lives, was hours from leaving his body. His last words weren't about fear, they were about love. Today, I'm sharing the final teachings of a man who spent his entire life preparing for this moment, and what he learned will change how you see death forever. Welcome back to Major Inspiration. If you don't know who Ram Dass was, let me introduce you to a legend. Born Richard Alpert, a Harvard psychology professor, he was fired in 1963 for psychedelic research with Timothy Leary. He went to India, met his guru, Neem Karoli Baba, became Ram Dass, and wrote Be Here Now, the book that brought Eastern spirituality to the West. For over 50 years, he taught about consciousness, love, and presence. He survived a massive stroke in 1997 that left him partially paralyzed and unable to speak clearly. But he kept teaching. For 22 more years, from a wheelchair, he taught. On December 22, 2019, at age 88, on the day after the winter solstice, as the earth turned from darkness to light, Ram Dass left his body peacefully in Maui. And his final teachings about death, love, and what comes next are the most powerful lessons he ever gave. The final mantra, I am loving awareness. In his last year, Ram Dass gave us a mantra. Not just any mantra, his final gift to the world. 3 words, I am loving awareness. In a VR recording made 1 year before his death, sitting in his garden in Maui, he said this, I perceive myself and the universe as love, and I'm immersed in the ocean of love. Your mantra is, I am loving awareness. This wasn't philosophy. This was his lived experience after the stroke, after decades of physical pain, after watching his body slowly fail him. Ram Dass didn't become bitter. He became love itself. He taught that you are not your body. You're not your thoughts. You're not your achievements or failures. You're loving awareness, witnessing all of it. And when you identify with that awareness instead of your ego, death becomes just another experience the awareness observes. He would sit with people and have them repeat, I am loving awareness. Not, I feel love, or I want love. I am loving awareness. That's your true nature. Everything else is temporary costume. This was his final teaching. Stop identifying with what's dying. Start identifying with what's eternal. Death is perfectly safe. Here's the teaching that stopped everyone in their tracks. Ram Dass, looking at his own approaching death, said, Death is perfectly safe. When asked about his fear of dying, he said, As a soul, I have no fear. If you approach death as a transition for the soul, nothing's to be scared about. He gave us an analogy that's both profound and hilarious. Death is not an error. It's not a failure. It's taking off a tight shoe. Think about that. Your whole life, you've been wearing shoes that pinch. And death? That's the moment you finally get to kick them off. That's not scary. That's relief. Ram Dass taught that the soul is on a journey through many lifetimes. This body, this life, is just one chapter. The soul doesn't die. It transitions. It continues. The body is the shoe, and eventually it gets too tight. In his final years, he said, My body is dying now, but I don't feel like I'm dying. I'm fascinated with how my body is doing it. Even dying, he was curious. He was witnessing it as an experience, not drowning in fear. That's the power of identifying with awareness instead of the body. The body dies. Awareness doesn't. If you have something to say it now. When asked about last words, what spiritual teachers traditionally plan to say before death, Ram Dass gave advice that cuts through everything. If you have something important to say it now. Say you love someone now. Forgive someone now. Don't wait. This is devastating in its simplicity. How many of us are waiting? Waiting for the right moment. Waiting to be ready. Waiting for certainty. And Ram Dass said, Stop waiting. Say it now. He continued, Live in the moment. Know that moments are not in time. They are not in the world of the clock, the changing seasons, the process of growing old. They are eternal. Ram Dass didn't have eloquent last words because he'd been saying his truth for 50 years. He lived his last words every single day. Love now. Be here now. Walk each other home. His signature farewell became his final teaching. Walk each other home. Not, I'll see you later, or goodbye. Walk each other home, because we're all heading to the same destination. And the journey is better when we support each other. In his last months, he could barely speak, but he would beam at people radiating love silently. Actions over words, presence over explanation. That was his final lesson. The truth about dying peacefully. Ram Dass taught something about death that doctors won't tell you. He said, if you want to have peace at the time of death, start by being peaceful now. Death is just another moment. If you aren't peaceful today, you probably won't be peaceful tomorrow. This is the truth nobody wants to hear. You don't suddenly become enlightened when you die. You die as you lived. If you've spent your whole life anxious, controlling, resisting, you'll die that way too. If you spent your life present, accepting, loving, you'll die that way. Ram Dass said, the biggest obstacle to peaceful death is other people's fear. When people are about to die, there are a lot of energies trying to pull them back. But it's better to give them a chance to die in peace, because it is a transitional ceremony. He taught his students, don't stand in the way of someone's death. Support them. Let them go. Your fear of losing them doesn't help them. Your love and acceptance does. In his final teaching about the dying process, he said, death is our greatest challenge as well as our greatest spiritual opportunity. Being with the dying is the closest you can be to the presence of truth. This floored people. The dying aren't tragic. They're sacred. They're at the threshold between worlds. And if you can sit with them without fear, without trying to fix them or pull them back, you witness something holy. What Ram Dass saw as he was dying in his final year, Ram Dass shared what he was experiencing as death approached. And it's not what you'd expect. He said, I snuggle up to Maharaj Ji, his guru who died in 1973. I distance myself from the body, my body, identify with the witness, with awareness, with the soul. The body is ending, but the soul will go on and on and on. I keep going inward to the soul. Even as his body was failing, Ram Dass wasn't focused on the pain. He was focused on the eternal. He was going home to his teacher. He was resting in love. He taught, death does not have to be treated as an enemy for you to delight in life. Keeping death present in your consciousness as one of the greatest mysteries and as the moment of incredible transformation imbues this moment with added richness. That's the paradox. The more you accept death, the more alive you become. When you stop pretending you're immortal, you start actually living. Every moment becomes precious. Every goodbye becomes meaningful. Every sunrise matters. Ram Dass made friends with death. He didn't conquer it. He didn't defeat it. He befriended it. And in doing so, he showed us how to live. His last teaching was his life itself. Love fully. Be present completely. And when it's time to go, go peacefully. Your practice Ram Dass left his body on December 22nd, 2019. But his teachings are still here, and they're meant to be practiced, not just admired. Here's what he'd want you to do. Practice 1. Say, I am loving awareness every morning. Identify with that, not your story. Practice 2. If there's something you need to say to someone, say it today. Don't wait for death to give you courage. Practice 3. Make friends with change. Death is just the biggest change. Practice with small death. Endings, goodbyes, losses. Let them teach you. If this moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to Major Inspiration. Comment below. What's one thing you've been waiting to say that you're going to say now? Ram Dass's final words to the world were simple and perfect. Walk each other home. So that's what we'll do. We'll walk each other home with love, with presence, with awareness, until we meet again in that formless space where the soul continues forever. Thank you, Ram Dass, for walking us home. Until next time, keep inspiring yourself to greatness, and remember, death is perfectly safe.